Hello, my scrappy friends. How are we today? Welcome to my channel once again. I have another share for you, and this one is for Cut to You, and it is these absolutely gorgeous cut files that Gwen has created for Cocoa Vanilla Studio, and this is the page that I've created. First up, I have a bit of a walkthrough of how I created my page. So I've opened up the PNG file or JPEG file, I can't remember which one, in my Silhouette software. You can see that I've traced it, and then what I've had to do is, I can't remember exactly what it says, but remove compound path, I think it is, and then I've had to make the compound path for each part again. So firstly, selecting the whole file and removing compound path makes all of the pieces individual pieces. So then you have to piece back together like the words or the flowers and make them a compound path again so that they cut correctly. So I've done that because I'm not going to use all of the bits and pieces, and I've popped those over to the side. I've just next I have made a rectangle that is the same size as the photo that I'm using, which is 8 by 10. I find it easiest to work in the software to create my page design so that I know how big to make my cut file, so I'm not kind of going, oh, that looks about right, and then cutting it and going, this is so not right. So yeah, I put in a rectangle that is the same size as the photo that I'm using, and then I will bring in the cut files and place them on my page so that I know how big I need them to be. I'm using those two big florals on either side of my photo along the bottom, and then I've got this small floral that I'm going to cut 3 times. You can see that I have filled each of the cut lines with colour so that I can see exactly what I'm doing and where the cut file's sitting and that kind of stuff. And I'm just going to place those along the bottom edge of my photo because I know I've got room along there where there's pretty much just dead space in my photo that I can cover up. I'm going to use the title from this as well, which is the So Thankful For You, and I'm going to put that over the top of those florals. And you can see I've just placed those florals so that they line up behind, and I have got the 2 big ones on either end, and then I've got the smaller ones to next to the big ones, and then 1 extra one. You can see I'm just turning them and sending some of the files to the back, some to the front, and just making sure that I'm happy with the placement. The software that I've got has only got 10 minutes of free recording, so it did cut out after that. This is double speed, and so I'm just going to move all of my files up so that they fit in the top half of the page, and then I do fill the rest of the page, and I cut some hearts too. So this is all of my files cut. I'm just showing them all to you. There's my photo. This was from mine and my husband's engagement party back in 2007, so 12 years ago. And that's the photo that I'm going to be scrapbooking. I wanted to do this title black, so I'm using some black gesso and just painting that on. And then I'm using the Cocoa Vanilla Studio. This is the More Than Words 6x6 paper pad, and I'm just going to back my flowers with, so that there's a pink colour and then the like watercolory spotty pattern paper that I'm going to use as well. And I'm going to apply glue and stick my cut file down and then trim around it. I don't make you watch all of that. I do start with a tape runner, and then I wasn't happy. You'll see that I rub off the excess adhesive, but I just wasn't happy with the way that that was looking, so I do switch over to my Scotch tacky glue, for the big ones. I'm just going to trim those out, and I do all that off camera. I also, once I've trimmed all these out, my title is all dry. I'm going to back my title with some foam because I want that to sit above everything else and I want it to have a little bit of dimension. So here's my title, and I'm going to flip it over and show you. And these are my cut files. You can see on that one on the right hand side there's a bit that I missed. I don't know what I did, but I had a really blonde moment and didn't cut the paper quite right. I'm going to strategically place my title so that that covers it up. My photo, this is the original photo. Yes, I'm scrapbooking the original photo and I'm quite okay with that. The photo has got a couple of marks up on both of the top corners, so I'm going to use some photo corners to cover that up. Pretty little detail that hides some marks, which is awesome. I'm going to use 2 of the pattern papers from the, what is this collection? Love Always collection. I do have the names written down somewhere, so if you'd like to know, leave me a comment, I'll let you know. But I'm gonna use the pink and the blue, and I'm going to offset them behind the photo. Craft Remove is happening this month. I'm very excited. It will mean that I can have a paper trimmer living on my desk permanently, I think. So I'm just going to start by adhering these layers behind my photo. Pop on that first photo corner. That covers up the worst of the stuff on the corner of that photo. Pop on the blue, make sure it's straight, and then pop on the second photo corner. This one didn't want to go on straight for me. And I'm going to muck around a little while with the placement here. So I'm trying to make sure that I get full coverage right across that bottom line of the photo, but I'm also trying to make sure that I cover up that gap in that floral. Then when I place my title, I'm like, hey, that fits. So I'm going to run with that. I did start this page with the idea of using not a great deal amount of mixed media, and I don't use a great deal of mixed media. I do use some, and some of it I don't catch on camera. I thought I recorded it, but I can't find it. So I'm going to start by splattering some gold colour shine on the background. I had pulled out the hearts that I cut thinking that I might colour them. I couldn't decide, so I just pushed them to the side again. And now I'm playing with, you can see I'm playing with lots of different things to add to the page. Spoiler alert, I don't really add very much. I just don't feel like it needs it. So you can see I'm playing with those cut files, trying to get a placement that I'm happy with. You can see I'm just adding my glue straight to my photo. My background is still drying. And yep, that's going to cover up the gap. It's pretty much in the center, or center enough for me. I'm going to play with some wood veneer. I really want to get these to work, but I'm just not happy with the way that they look. Again, spoiler alert, they do not make it onto the page. They're really, really cute. I really love them. These are more Coco Vinyl Studio pieces. Couldn't tell you which collection. I think Love Always. I'm not sure. So yeah, you get to watch me play with these veneer for a little while. And eventually I'm like, no, I just don't like it, no matter how many times I shuffle them around. I do love that banner on the bottom, so I am going to stick with that. Bring my background back in. Make sure I've got that in the right place. And I'm just going to go back in. Because I only put a little bit of adhesive on the photo, I'm just going to make sure that all the edges are stuck down. Ordinarily I would add lots of different, a few different layers, but because that cut file is going on top, I wanted it all flat. I'm going to pop this on top, make sure my placement is correct over that hole, which is why you see my head. I do apologise, but trying to make sure that I don't cut off too much of that Y down the bottom. just put my watercolor box on top to make sure that's going to keep it flat, which it does. Play with a few stickers, and again I'm just like, no, I'm just going to go with this. Really like the way that finishes that off. I found these in my stash. Now these are from Kmart. Gold mirror acrylic hearts. They're so cute. For me, it was just the right finishing touch. I really like what it does for the page. It just adds a little bit more bling and pretty. These do have a protective film on them, which is still on them. You will, I think. Yeah, so I'm going to peel that off. It's pretty easy to come off. I'm happy with the way that looks. Cover up our faces in the photo, and I'm going to come in with, what have I got here? This is my gold. I wanted to bring some more of that gold up to the top. Now, one of the really good things about using the black gesso was it's gesso, so things don't sink into it. So I was able to wipe off the gold splatters that went onto my black title. You can see here I'm just using a wet baby wipe, rubbing it off, and it comes off beautifully. I'm like, yay, that's awesome. I'm going to trim down the 3 sides that need trimming down. I'm going to do a bit of a touch up on here because some of the gold I missed and I couldn't get it off. So I'm just using a tiny paintbrush and adding a little bit more black gesso. What am I doing? Cleaning. I thought I cut this out. I do apologise. So I'm just going to make sure that my titles are adhered down properly, trimming off that bottom edge. Now you can see behind the flowers I have gone in with some watercolour. I've just used a paintbrush and literally I have gone in and just smooshed some colour in behind there with a paintbrush. I just felt like it needed a little bit of something extra. Really like the extra pop it gives. I also add some pink splatters, which you can see here, and I've added in some of those little white hearts from the cut file. I thought I'd recorded that process, but obviously I haven't. So yeah, these cut files are available free from Coco Vanilla Studio. Head over and grab them, and I will see you again in my next process video. Thank you so much for stopping by.